most merciful. Appendix 3. We made the Quran easy. Surah 54, verse 17. Surah 11, verse 1 informs us that the Quran's miracle involves 1. The superhuman mathematical design of its physical structure, and 2. The simultaneous composition of a literary work of extraordinary excellence. One may be able to meet the numerical distribution requirements of a simple mathematical pattern. However, this is invariably accomplished at the expense of the literary quality. The simultaneous control of the literary style and the intricate mathematical distribution of individual letters throughout the Quran, Appendix 1, is evident in the fact that the Quran is made easy to memorize, understand, and enjoy. Unlike a human-made book, the Quran is enjoyable to read over and over infinitely. The title of this appendix is repeated in Surah 54, verses 17, 22, 32, and 40. As it turns out, the Quran's Arabic text is composed in such a way as to remind the reader or the memorizer of the next correct expression, or the next verse. God created us, and He knows the most efficient way for fixing literary materials into our memory. Memorization of the Quran has played a vital role in preserving the original text generation after generation at a time when written books were a rarity. Without even realizing it, the person who memorizes the Quran is divinely helped by an intricate literary system as he utters the sounds of the Quranic words. Almost every verse in the Quran contains what I call memory bells. Their function is to remind the reader of what comes next. The system is so vast, I will give only 2 illustrative examples. 1. In Surah 2, verses 127, 128, and 129 end with 2 different names of God each. These pairs of names are Al-Sami, Al-Alim, the Hearer, the Omniscient; Al-Tawwab, Al-Rahim, the Redeemer, most merciful; and Al-Aziz, Al-Hakim, the Almighty, most wise, respectively. If this were a regular book, one would easily mismatch these 6 names. Not so in the Quran. Each one of these pairs is preceded in the same verse by a memory bell that reminds us of the correct pair of names. Thus, verse 127 talks about Abraham and Ismail raising the foundations of the Kaaba. The verse ends with the names Al-Sami and Al-Alim. The prominent sounds here are the S, M, and Ain. These 3 letters are prominent in the word Ismail. We find that this word is conspicuously delayed in the sentence, while improving its literary quality. Thus, we find that the verse goes like this. When Abraham raised the foundations of the Kaaba together with Ismail, normally a human writer would say, when Abraham and Ismail raised the foundations of the Kaaba, but delaying the sounds in Ismail brings them closer to the end of the verse, and thus reminds us that the correct names of God in this verse are Al-Sami and Al-Alim. Verse 128 has the prominent word Tab just before the names Al-Tawwab, Al-Rahim. The word Tab thus serves as the memory bell. The names of God at the end of Surah 2, verse 129 are Aziz, Hakim. The prominent sounds are Z and K. Obviously, the memory bell in this verse is the word Yuzakkihim. 2. Another good example is found in Surah 3, verse 176, 177, and 178, where the retribution for disbelievers is described as Azim, terrible, Alim, painful, and Muhin, humiliating, respectively. In a human-made book, the memorizer could easily mix up these three descriptions, but we find that each of these adjectives is preceded by powerful memory bells that prevent such a mix-up. The word azim of verse 176 is preceded by the word huzun, which is characterized by a stressed letter Z. This serves to remind us of the particular adjective at the end of this verse. The word alim of verse 177 is preceded by the sound of the word iman, to serve as a memory bell, and the word muhin of Surah 31, verse 78, is preceded by an abundance of M and H throughout this verse. Other examples of memory bells include the ending of Surah 3, verse 173, and the beginning of Surah 3, verse 174, the ending of Surah 4, verse 52, and the beginning of Surah 4, verse 53, the ending of Surah 4, verse 61, and the beginning of Surah 4, verse 62, the ending of Surah 18, verse 53, and the beginning of Surah 18, verse 54, and many more. In the name of God, most gracious,